right. All right. Mic levels look low. Maybe it's just me being too quiet. We'll see. Let me refresh. Refresh Twitch. Those of you watching the VOD, welcome. If you happen to be new people, which I guess happens sometimes, welcome. Feel free to skip around. You can find a ton of information on our YouTube. A lot of VODs. I think we're up to like 120 videos or something. So be sure to check it out. What's going on here? What's going on here? Do I need to grab latest? Is that something I didn't do? All right, so the plan for today is to check some quest implementation and to maybe do some quest implementation. That's the idea for today. That doesn't seem interesting to you, then check one of the other VODs. It's very quiet at the moment because I figured I would just listen to music once we got in game, but we'll see. We'll see how long it takes me to get into game. We're here. We're good. Hit play. What's up, Toofs? How you doing today? How was your weekend? And let's get some let's get this music turned back up. Weekend was nice. Good. How was mine? How was mine? Oh, yeah, I went to the garden on Saturday because the weather was decent. Did a little bit more cleanup before the winter. Finally cut down all my old corn stalks. And then used them to cover the bed. Used them to cover the corn bed. We'll see how that works out. Oh, look at this. Hey, Otis. Otis and others have a little bug right now. They got a little walking in place bug that appeared last night. Let's turn the music up. So it's not just me babbling. It's me babbling with music. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so garden and no work on Saturday. Basically, all I did on Saturday was, oh my god, music's real loud, huh? All I did on Saturday was garden stuff and then hung out with Jasmine. We had a nice just let's hang out, watch some TV together kind of day. And then Sunday was a work day. Got some work done. Because today's Monday. Sunday was yesterday? No. Monday was yesterday. Okay. Because today I'm streaming. It's Tuesday. Alright. Everything makes more sense now. Of course, today's Tuesday. Otherwise... Oh, we got swimming animation. Look at me. I'm swimming. I'm like a frog. Ark Staff's been getting more animations in, which is tight. I think that's where the Twitch NPCs are a little twitchy. Yeah, we noticed that for the first time last night. And they're a little floaty. But I think we knew about floaty. Water effects are very nice. They're very soothing. Like this water makes me feel good about being in the water. Oh, it's interesting to see what the water does to my cloak. Or cape? Cape. Did something just break? Or did I... Maybe I went into a different... water volume? Interesting. We'll have to look into that at some point. chromatic aberration. Is that this stuff? Alright. So, yeah, we've been doing some animation updates, which, you know. The sort of the nature of development in my experience, at least, especially at this stage. Do I have this dock just like floating? No, I thought I braced it pretty good. I mean, there's one pillar that could be better. Yeah, fix one thing. No, not break 10 things in a process, Keith. You gotta be you need a big dose of positivity. I was gonna say it's like 10 steps forward, 1 step backward. Or 10 steps forwards, 1 step to the left. Would probably be better. You're the one that broke it? Then no reason to beat your up. Oh, jeez, Louise English. No reason to beat yourself up. Whitechapel, thank you for 11 months. We appreciate your support. It's funny, I realized recently that I had not set up my new PayPal for Germany properly with Twitch. So none of the subscription and other stuff, it's all just been sitting in Twitch. So I just fixed that. So I got a little chunk from Twitch that will go straight into paying some M&M bills, which is pretty tight. Thank you guys, and thank you Twitch for bundling up all the moolahs. Okay, so what are we doing today? What are we doing today? We're logging out this character is what we're doing today. Apologies for that. This is my Necro that I've been playing legit. Though I do think I've come in and done some testing on him, which is unnecessarily eating some food and drink. Am I finally out of food? I swear I had my original stacks of food and drink with this guy forever. But everything on this guy should be earned. What's this? Yeah, everything on here is properly earned. I mean, I did group with some pretty suspect people on occasion. This lantern is not earned. Destroy. Destroy. I did not purchase that. But I've got a plat and a gold so far. What, level 5? So I'll, now that there's more stuff that I'm aware of, sort of, to come out here and screw with, blah, blah, blah. Definitely be coming out here and playing him more, but not today. Probably not today. I've got a brand new Necromancer that I need to run through and look for bugs on the Necromancer newbie quest. So.
Good morning.
Belfaster, good morning. Thank you for 13 months. Keith, I have not looked at the attack variations yet. I also have not looked at myself. Whoa, look at me. I've got some new shoulders. Need to get in and set those up in the dressing room, I guess. You have the same cup. Your coworkers keep asking you if it's a novelty item on Zoom. It's not that big. The camera does weird things to my proportions. Actually, it's probably that big. All right, so let's camp. We should probably get with Gary and increase the camp time again before friends and family.
Morning all.
Good morning, Rev. What's going on? Thank you for 5 months. Apparently, we have a limited time to earn something from the hype train. Okay, so NecroQuest. Just like the jingle says, the best part of waking up is soldiers in your... Oh, that's very off key. Best part of waking up. Squiggly Lines, thank you for 15 months. Man, the hype train confetti and shit actually looked kind of cool just then. Okay, what is going on with this dude? And...
Hey Sean smiley face.
let me just delete this. Hey, Ramez. Thank you for 6 months. Is it renew subscription day? Is that what's going on? You guys are... I could have sworn I made this guy... Okay. I made this guy specifically to... Oh, Really? No. Why have I been playing this guy? I could have sworn for sure he would just be... for testing out this quest series. Either way, I still have my newbie note, so I can do the testing. I honestly don't remember what I was doing with this guy. I think I'm gonna remove this door soon. I'm just kidding, door. Calm down. Don't freak out. Yeah, this is weird. This is okay. I was about to say, did statics break? But I guess not. What kind of a hairstyle do I have right now? I kind of like it. I'm a bit patchy. Did Zukin do this to me? Did Zukin somehow conspire with somebody to get into my data and give me a gnomish hairstyle on a human? You should make it so there are moaning sounds from the Necromancer quest training room. I don't know if it's going to be that kind of game. Why is the Necromancer Guild right next to the bathhouse? Oh. Oh. Yeah, oh no. I'm gonna take these shoulders off for now. Because I look a little bit tighter without them at the moment. I'm gonna destroy that. I know what I was doing. I had life drain. Because I was testing a new bit of functionality last week. And I could have sworn, did I do that on stream? Because I got all excited because it worked. Or am I thinking of the Shadow Knight quest? Either way, but essentially, I can use life drain to trigger a quest-specific drop, which is something we've been calling conditional loot rolls. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, wait. But I have my notes. And I'm only level 1. So I'm assuming I didn't go through the Necro quest. I just checked that functionality. Let's check it out either way. Because we've got the Necro quest to look at. We've got the Shadow Knight quest to look at. And we've got Inquisitor quest to do implementation on today, potentially. I didn't mean good moaning, like unconscious pain moaning. But yeah, near the bathhouses would be bad. Yes. It's Concourse of Souls, not the Intercourse of Souls. Get it together. We're making a slightly more adult game, but I don't know if we're going all Conan with it. Conditional loot? Rev says I can think of so much stuff that could be used for. Yeah. So, oops, I went out the back door. My hair is just, is that hair or is it is my hair. Oh, it is the 22nd. Holy shit. It's weird. I've been waiting for this day, Ollie, and for some reason I thought the 22nd was like next week. I'm losing track of time. Ollie, happy birthday. How old are you today? $30 something? Who's counting? Well, I'm counting at this point. The DMV, the IRS. Where'd my notes say to go? Alright. To Marvion. Let's see. Well, he doesn't want this. So I had to have done the first stage already. What's this NPC doing? Keith said he made all of the NPCs dance. We saw this last night when we were working on Amy's stuff, Luna's stuff, and thought maybe we had broken it, but it looks like it was actually Keith. Alright, so we'll do this. Oh, I know what's Now, let's look. Let's look and see what's going on here. We'll go up to our documentation. Boom. Cool. Got that open. Let grab this. We'll go into quests. Yep. First bug found. Perfect. Finding bugs. It's not ideal because you don't want them to exist, but it's better than not finding bugs. Chat Solo. Good morning. Oh man, it used to get me really frustrated with teams when we would get a bunch of bugs back from QA where it was just clear that the person never played through any of their work, didn't test their work in any way. Bugs are going to exist. That's what QA's, ultimately there to help with, but I mean, the number of times I've had the talk of test your shit. I had a team member whose response to like, hey, we need to be testing our stuff before we send it over to QA. This individual had only been on the team for under a year and had not worked anywhere else, I think, and was really young. But like popped off with a response of like, that's QA's job. I was just like, oh, young person. Oh. That's QA's job. I don't need to test my shit. No, you need to test your shit. Cool. So, reload zone. Apparently reloading the zone just really agitated this guy even more. Whichever direction you've been twisting the knob, Keith, you got to twist it the other way, I think. The Sabo Tender. Thank you for the follow. Nick is literally the reason I've been able to get so much work done on M&M over the last 2 years. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think Nick falls into a special category though, because given Nick's many hats that he wears on the team, he can actually fix stuff as he finds it often as well. Ollie is the reason work gets done on M&M. Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been a little bit harder to make this with just stock Unity. It would have been a little bit harder. Sabotender said, fellow Unity game dev and streamer here. Always nice to see more of us. Cool. Tell us about what you're making. Pazza160 says, that's not my job. Feels like such a mercenary answer. You'd hope that people in game dev feel more like artists getting their idea to a sufficient point before they're willing to show it. I think this was maybe more of an artiste kind of move. Isan, thank you for 20 months, my dear friend. How are you? Yeah, I think with this guy, Pazzy, it was just more of like he felt like he had finally ascended to game design and no longer had to be bothered with such trivial things like making sure his stuff worked. The Sabo said, not much to show off right now, sadly. I need to get better at posting things online. I've made an app for streamers, though, inspired by old school dungeon crawlers. Oh, that sounds interesting, though. Did that particular developer get better over time? I would have to say, in this situation, no. He wound up being a pain in the ass for the rest of the time that I worked with him. I leveled while turning in the quest, Nick, because I had already been testing this conditional drop a ton and doing some other stuff with this guy. He wasn't a brand new clean character, which for sakes of just sort of continuing to go, I think I'll keep working with him and just make sure there's no blockers on this quest chain before we go through it. Or as I go through. But yeah, Pazzy, this individual wound up just being a big pain in the butt. The quest complete music canceling got rid of the ding sound there. Oh, interesting. Well, that was fortunate that we discovered that. Sabotender says, I've been in the Norwegian games industry for 12 years. Oh, badass. I've only been to Norway once. I was in Oslo for the weekend that the X Games was there a few years ago. That was when I lived in Stockholm. Really nice people there, though. Very expensive alcohol. Is Sabotender a combination of sabotage and Tinder, like the app? You live in Oslo? Seemed like a really nice. Seemed like a really nice city. Felt a bit. It felt smaller than Stockholm, but pretty comfy. But honestly, I didn't see. I basically saw airport, hotel, X Games place, hotel, airport. That was it. All right, so take this to segment. All right, cool. I love my butt cut haircut at the moment. It's when you want to swipe left, but someone shakes the couch, causing you to swipe right. That is very funny, Ollie. I'm not just saying that because it's your birthday. Sabotender is the Japanese name for Cactuar, a monster from Final Fantasy. Subnatural says, I remember that Cactuar summon. I'm so bad at remembering anything. Let me see. Let me see this link.
Hey guys, happy 1-year anniversary of me learning Twitch Prime was a thing.
Pattis, thank you, buddy. Oh, okay, cool. I know this dude. That reminds me, I need to finish the Final Fantasy remake. I never did. Oh, badass! A 2-year D&D campaign based around Egyptian mythology, especially second. Assuming there will be a paladin class in this game, I kind of hope the paladin quests give no direct rewards. As someone who roleplays as paladin, I often love the class fantasy of helping people for the sake of helping, not rewards. And then Nick said, but what if you get a badass sword to help you help others? I will say there are paladins in this game. I've already put in like a first stab. All these quests will probably get redone and be made better later, but I put in a first stab at the paladin quest. Each of our quests at the moment are going to feel very kind of different. Almost like different people wrote them, or people wrote them in different states of consciousness just because we're playing with different mechanics, we're trying different things or whatever. I will say that the Paladin quest to date is the most sort of nebulous, like you probably need to be paying attention to figure out how to proceed quests that's in the game. But again, keep in mind, this is all just playing around stuff. All right. Oh. Cool. Apparently, all my quests are buggy. Good thing I'm testing them. Really? You have to talk to, or type to talk to NPCs? Yep. We're taking a new approach. Let me see. So far, I'm finding that this is the buggiest quest that I've implemented. Because I'm pretty much 0 for 2 so far. Dark Tall. This is not the same as P99. We're doing something unique and completely original on this front. Never been done before. How dare you? Interesting. What's going on here? Okay, so that worked. The turn-in worked. Darktail, I'm just kidding with you. Said, hey, I like it. I can't wait until I can give you guys some money so we can play this. We can't wait for that either. It's going to be very, very exciting for us both. Bought the bug. Are there any plans to have recharges on items, Sean? And if so, we won't have to do the vendor buyback glitch, will we? In past discussions, I've heard Ollie and or Nick mention recharging items with a more intentional plan. Like the enjoyment of clickies and then providing means of recharging some clickies. But I'll let those guys speak to it. All right, so there you go. Nick summarized it. Supported in the game, don't need to do a trick. Dark Inside, I don't know what it is about you. Every time you come in, I wind up missing you. And then you tell me I missed you. But I appreciate that. Good morning. Gotta go do some wood splitting. That sounds fantastic. That sounds very refreshing. Ollie said that the quests are written by all of my personalities. Okay. So, again, really honestly, I'm looking at this. Incarno, yes. Residue, yes. Let me just reduce it here to this. I'm looking, I'm over here looking in the database, guys, so. You think I have it out for you, Dark Inside? No. 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 So Pazzy, you currently do get rewarded for your efforts, but the quest itself is very much written in a way that I hope makes you feel good about what you're doing. Gotta love it when the tea you're drinking is basically just saffron. I don't think I've ever run into that problem before. Interesting. So if I reduce it down to one word, Ollie, do we not support spaces in our prompt, or did something change on that front? So I've got the prompt here, and I just reduced it down to one word. But for some reason, I'm looking now, but for some reason I could have sworn I mean, I could have sworn we supported phrases prior to this, but I actually don't see many phrases in here. But I've seen this one work, right? Night market. All right, so let me go back to this. And I'm going to put the space back in. And you know what? I'm going to do a simple one. I'm just going to put what in front of it. What? Incarnal. Click off. Reload the data. And I'll fix this so that they're ordered properly. Target them. All right. Go to guard. Go to 4102. I believe this should be POI, so you're right, that's a different system, so that won't be a good quest. Also, this started doing weird stuff, Ollie. I was thinking about killing this static, but there's another guy in here that's got a phrase. Go to Wallace, maybe? Wallace. Where can I find a market? He says, which market are you after? The night market or the old temple market? The night market. Nope. It looks like... let me try this one then. The old temple market. Cool. I think I have a tab open on my other screen to confirm whether or not this has been fixed. Per Nick's request. that I just need to figure out. There we go. Support for multi-word prompts, issue 1031 is well, but maybe I've got the IDs wrong. Nope, I said that I modified, so on 1 month ago today. Modified as suggested, the problem persists in the example above. And I'm gonna tag Ali. This still seems to be an issue, but now it looks like support for multi-word prompts / phrases is needed. Comment. The Red Mage 333. Thank you for the follow. Okay. No worries, Ollie. What I'm going to do now, for the time being, is I'm going to simplify that quest. And then when we clean up and stuff, I can always come back and update. Let's go to... Boom. So Subnatural said, I love the torch system. Mind running with possibilities, secret passages, LTTP style torch lighting mini quest. Nick said I brought up the LTTP in our discussion about it. Subnatural said it's a novel approach. I'm not sure I've seen interactable data objects like that in other MMOs, but you probably have seen them in MUDs. Would be cool if you can change the colors or if different flames had different attributes, and maybe lighting a hallway shows the spawn timers. We can do all sorts of weird stuff with them. The systems, it's nice. Been slowly catching up on documentation behind the scenes on these things, but with the systems that Ali's put in recently, we've got a lot to play with now. So it's really going to come down more to, I really, despite there not being any lighting in here, I kind of like the shadowing on my character right now. Yeah, so it's really going to just come down to like being creative and doing fun stuff with them. Luna just put in a really cool object as part of some quests that she's doing, but she'll probably show that off in the not too distant future. And it's cool because it got some nice art support and stuff. We may run by and look at the object, but I won't be interacting with it at the moment. DGX says, I wish I could put hidden doors in ruins, but that risks not being able to get to the level exit. Say more so that my slow brain will understand.
Exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
In CS2, thank you for 7 months. You guys are awesome today. Thank you for all of the subs and follows. So let me just do this the cheap way. No? Maybe it just doesn't like that word. Oh, I didn't update the... Let me update the zone data. Reload zone. Oh, someone... Ruins being name of a roguelike. Ah, and someone's talking about revealing doors, hidden doors and things. Okay. I'm partially with you now. Okay. Cool. All right. So I got the remaining instructions for this quest, and and I'm sure that had I not thought to ask him, I would be very confused as a player. That's the price you pay. Ventali, good morning. So now we're gonna cheat a little bit. Ooh, my frame rate did not like that go-to. Is it getting better? Wonder if that's like a byproduct of getting wacky with the sphere of influence. Sitting at 30 frames now. Let me camp really quick. Interesting. Later on, I may actually restart Unity and see if that helps. Because my frame rate was great in here before I did that. Oh, it was good in here. Okay, so I've got this container. Jars Sekhmet gave you to fill with incarnate residue. Cool. And now, let me make myself invulnerable. Let me make myself a GM, and then make myself invulnerable. And then spell invulnerable properly. Oh my god. Have I even seen this game before? Sammy Nilla, thank you for the follow. Sammy Nilla sounds delicious. Subnatural says, one last note on torches lighting. I love the warm glow from the lights. Really sets the scene and pulls your attention. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really love the city when we run out into the next zone when we're in Shaded Dunes looking back. The lighting that Pat us through on the city facade is fantastic. So I hit him with Life Drain. Kill him. Bone Chip. Alright. Let's find another one. To be fair, invulnerable is a bastard. The spell word. I mean, I don't even have to spell the full word. That's the sad part. I just had to get a little invuln going. And usually I nail that. Usually I'm pretty good at. This is the object that they just put in, interactive object. It's being a little silly at the moment, but you'll see more of those later for a quest series. So, Life Drain. Got myself a buckler. Got myself a shirt. Nick, I keep thinking, I noticed this the other day. I think it was on this guy maybe, because I was just barely, like, I was just killing any skeleton I could find quickly to see if this conditional drop was working. And I got almost a full set of cloth. I'm thinking we should go in and tune down the drop rates a bit on the cloth. I mean, we don't want to be ultra stingy, but right now these guys feel pretty generous. I need a target to use this ability. You stop. Okay, well, something's weird about that guy. Good morning, J Bombo. Guys talking about the lighting. Yeah, I don't... Ollie, I'm... There we go. We got some residue. Perfect. Residue drops. That's all we got to do. Yeah, Ollie. So we also got a comment in from who said it? Coding Caffeine said, liking those clouds in the sky almost makes it seem like the weather is fully dynamic. One of these days we'll have different moons, moon phases, variety of different weather conditions, different cloud conditions, probably a fully functioning cosmos modeled to scale, or at least some constellations that are interesting. Nick, you mean the daytime skeletons? Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to convey that they're different somehow. If we feel like the animation, can we give them a slightly different color eye? If not having the eye glow is weird for folks. It'd be cool if their eyes started glowing when they aggroed. It'd be cool if their eyes turned back off when they died. But I mean, if it's a thing you feel strongly about, I don't care. I was just trying to make them look a little different. Oh my god. The CGX said have moons or the sun being in different constellations create ambient game effects. Yeah, that's the idea. Essentially, I think we've just been describing it generically as lunar cycles. But it'll be one of the conditions that we can drive content off of later on. Like, I haven't done it yet. I need to actually sit down and play with these. But so one of the things I was going to toss in as a test and just kind of use as a little bit of surprise will be something along sort of faking that, and essentially just having a couple different triggers out there that are called like whatever full moons or something, But just base it off of some counters that we have available to us to simulate it, and then I need to play with the every 15-minute thing, because in theory we can trigger stuff. We can set conditions every 15 minutes. Oh, the ones in Wormsbane, I'm definitely not referring to. I was just talking about the lazy skeletons in the newbie yard that are non-KOS. But just because during the day, I also feel like it's a bit of variety where they don't necessarily all need to have glowing stuff going on, and during the day it's daytime anyway. But again, I don't necessarily feel strongly about it. It's just one of those things where I was like, yeah, here's a thing to try. TJ said, Gato, I'd love if the lunar cycle would affect enough to change optimal playstyle. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that, Nick. Yeah, I'm in the camp of like having weird things like that affect the game enough for it to be noticeable and interesting, but we're always going to have to balance that against the sort of push for optimal. Oh yeah, Nick, for sure. Different mobs other than skeletons with glowies, for sure. Yeah, it's that push for min-max where I think we've discussed it more with weird character traits or whatever, where it's, oh well, but in this situation, this particular character build or whatever gets a +3 or a -5 or whatever. It's like, min-maxers heads explode and they only do blah 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 during such and such. I don't know. We'll see where we land. Hopefully we've got enough interesting, quirky shit that it feels worthwhile, and it does feel interesting and quirky. And it doesn't just sort of degenerate. Will conning the mobs include use of the taste command? It depends on how sneaky you are. I could see that if you're a rogue and you get really close to a mob, maybe you can taste it. Hey John, what's going on? Chat Solo says, would the sky have any gameplay aspects related to religions, factions, abilities? Religions, factions, it can definitely do that. Make it so that certain NPCs are available or not available. Make it so that certain interactions are available or not available. We already do that a bit, just with the simple day-night. We've already got that going. Coding Caffeine, thank you for 6 months. Adichie, hello. Gnomes taste like Fruity Pebbles milk? Depends on where you're tasting, I guess. Okay, so let me look up this item. So, that makes sense that I would name it that. SI, 7, I guess. No. It said no. We're not going to let you do multiple. Does my combine work? My combine does work. I need to follow up on making it so that containers stay containers. Like basically when we combine one of these quest containers or whatever, it can stay in its container slot. I can't remember if that's just a matter of setting the slot mask properly, or if there was some sort of a weird glitch with it now being an item instead of a container. that maybe in code it doesn't allow you to put it in that slot. Ollie, if you heard that, maybe you could clarify before I actually do any trial and error. Oh, let me just do a go-to to save us some time. Oops, but it's not Sekhmet that wants it. I actually need to... And let me see, did I put a clue on the container? The jar Sekhmet gave me to fill for Buckmar. Alright, so... That's the sort of little cheaty quest log, but not really a quest log. Somebody said hi a second ago, and I think I missed it. So hello, whoever that was. Durandal, hello. Hey, Buckmar. Don't mind me, I'm just exercising. I'm in my alchemy lab. Working my legs. Working my legs. Don't want to get too stiff. Don't want to look like one of these corpses. Black and gold robe. 1. Is it even a robe? It is a robe. It is clearly not black and gold. Alright. He gave me a list. Oh. This list is very hard to read. He's working on inventing the Running Man dance in M&M. To be collected, a werewolf's pelt. There's word that a gathering of were-rats are working as smugglers along the coast of Shaded Dunes. Okay. Vibroplasmic residue. We found this residue amongst the zombies of Shaded Dunes and within the recently discovered tomb nearby. Okay. A ghoul's corrupted heart. Start by opening up a ghoul and looking inside. Fair enough. I guess that would make sense. Ghostly cloth scraps. Look for a clothed ghost. The level of hint on the item seems good. Information as reasonable for your character remembered without going as far as a map icon. Yeah, it's just a little reminder in case you know, you gotta stop for today and come back. Figured I'd try it out on some of the quests I'm doing. Will there be options to make all game text include UI stuff? Much bigger. Let's just say yes. We definitely want to pay attention to accessibility, especially as it relates to text. So when we're doing UI stuff, we're going to be putting a lot of focus and making sure that our chat boxes, because we use them for so much, right? That our chat boxes have wonderful defaults. And the layout of the UI is very sort of done in keeping with the style of game that we have and the gameplay and the emphasis on interacting and doing a lot of stuff with text. It's and in terms of accessibility, I'd really like at some point for us to also look at some text to voice options for people with vision impairment. I know we had somebody come by when I was working at Star Stable from a university that was focused on that and had some really good options that he was discussing with us, but I don't have that information, so I'd really love to be able to find out more on that and blah blah blah. All right, so we may be able to do that right now. Let's see, what item is this? Black and gold rope. We'll kind of halfway fix it for now and see what happens. Hey, Dargoth. 3PO. All right, good enough for now. Good enough for now. At least it's in the ballpark. So getting a black robe so early in the game, I know that's pretty dope as a necromancer. But there'll be even doper black robes later. Don't worry. Need to give this one some gold trim. You're assuming ultra-wide monitor support will be supported? Probably. I think Ollie's got one of those big fancy monitors. I'm currently using one 17-inch CRT monitor from 1996. Everything looks fine to me. Invuln. Did it right this time. Alright. Hey, Todd. What are we looking for again? We're looking for, out here, a ghoul, probably, a zombie, probably, and some were-rats. Cool. We are not looking for you, Ashira. Ashira. Let me also make myself free of aggro. And then also, let's cheat and run fast. Nicodemus! Feed a gem. Got no brains today. Big Al, have a great day.
Awesome.
Nicodemus, thank you for 14 months. Oh, whoever was talking about lighting earlier. Maybe you've already seen it, but just in case you haven't. Isn't that pretty? I sound like a 80s movie SWAT team right now. Like if you're watching the Blues Brothers, or I think Blues Brothers is probably the last movie I saw a SWAT team where they were all moving around making this sound. Because they're all like, hup, 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 all together. Mysterious. Inviting. Cool. Alright, let's go find us some things that probably have the items on them that we need. So, let's see. Oops. Go to 1546. Oh, uh-oh. Yep, it's nighttime. Nighttime means there's giants about. Are you going to power through starter quests for all classes right off the bat, or is it still kind of testing and proving out your quest design systems? It's, Dargoth, it's both. So, essentially by doing, you know, 2-ish, newbie quests, or starter quests, per class, it reinforces a couple things. One, it's absolutely breeding a lot more familiarity with the tools, and the it's been nice because we've been documenting all of that functionality as well. So that's pretty cool. Nice, getting some nice thorough documentation. But it's the creativity of just making some different stuff is sort of forcing use of tools in different ways. So that's been very helpful. The first starter quests that like I did for like fighter, archer, etc. Will need to be improved because it's like any sort of content that you make early, it's now there's more functionality and just better understanding. But then on the other hand, what it also does is it just ensures that there's a tiny little bit of direction for each class. And the sooner we have that for all of the classes, the sooner we're kind of comfortable with, you know, as we have people come in and play and test stuff with us or whatever, at least we've got that little bit of direction to kind of get folks started. And with the current level spread, it typically gets people kind of out into the newbie yard, and then from there, kind of around that next tier of 6, 7, 8, level 10 kind of stuff, and moves you into Shaded Dunes or Wormsbane. So. Yeah, coding caffeine. Giants, we used to have some giant capsules in, and we just haven't had them lately, so I just threw the ogre in really big, and put it on a nighttime condition to appear. It's a night spawn. I had set them up so that they only spawn at night if it was raining, which I think would be cool. Spoiler alert, like once we get the dust storms and stuff like that going, if we've got like dust storm and then a sandstorm, or maybe in either case, then maybe the these dunes giants potentially remade or renamed to sand giant at some point. Eventually they may only appear then, but I'm just playing around with stuff. Invisible zombie. I wonder why that is. Because I know zombies exist, like their art exists in Wormsbane. I wonder if it's the setting thing. Let's look up zombies and see. I'm looking at database now. Zombie. Everything with a zombie name has a zombie race ID of Zom. So that can't be it. Is there anything else going on? Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, you're looking at them now? I think it may be related to texture 1 and 2, Nick. We're only using... because the zombie laborers are using Zom as well. I think the difference that I see here is... well, that's not true either, because... these guys are all Wormsbane, and I thought all the Wormsbanes worked, but they're different here. Huh. Either way, while Nick's looking into that, I'm going to... oh, it should be fixed? Cool, let's try it out. Zombies, oh. Exception just got thrown. And I thought I saw the word zombie in here. Texture related, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, texture blitz, zombie male highlights asset. What this is just popping off about. Oh, but he's good. Cool. Fixed it. He should have the item. Oh yeah, I've got aggro turned off. Oops. Did not do any damage to him. They've just got a really low percentage chance to drop that item, but it does show that it's on there. Low percentage. Go to 1922. We'll have to fix it. Okay, I was about to say, we'll have to fix the faction on this guy. He's not getting attacked by these Ashira, but he is. I've got to do at least 1 point damage, right? Yeah, they did all the damage. Go to 2016. John said my name is NecroQuest. I joined Power Walks along the beach. Evening spent with the undead. Let me try something out. I can't remember if I set it up this way. Go to 1588. And oh yeah, these are I know what it is. These guys are just so much higher level. I was like, did I put the heart on them as well? Wonder, would it be cool if Necros had a self-bind outside of cities in graveyards? Interesting thought. We still have to have the talk about bind restrictions. If any, and how much. Have you guys seen this already? Did you already see this area last week? I forget. Made some revisions to this area here to be propped out a little bit more. Gave it some greenery and stuff. And then we've got well, in theory, we've got a smuggler camp. We had a smuggler camp. What time is it? It's 8 a.m. The smugglers should be awake by now. Interesting. So here they are. Those are some small smugglers. Yeah, it's funny because they've been modified to be 0.75. And that does not feel 0.75. Let's see. Right? Does that feel 0.75? They're into petty crime. Holy shit, John. So, we'll modify them. We'll make them 0.85. See what happens. Yeah, they need some clothes. It's a little better. Okay. Are they humans? They are humans in here. They are flagged as... Cool. So... Time... That... What is my character's height set to? Ooh, that's an interesting question. It should just be default 1. Warlord. 5 p.m. Let's see if there's something weird. Maybe set them to 1 and check if they start at the same size. Yep, I'm planning on doing that right after this. They were capsules last week. Zagio! Is plane 006 ready? Not ready yet, no. Monotonous! Hello, it's good to see you again. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, people. Monotonous, do your people know what's going on here? Are they already up to date on what's going on? Or should I give them some info? So, Dread Pirate just hit the imminent command, so there is a link to our website. It is monstersandmemories.com. Told him about EverQuest and what you're creating, and that you're creating an old style MMO. I think that's a very nice, concise way of covering it. That is us. Our Discord is here. If you got any questions that are not covered by the website's FAQ, or we don't cover them in here, our YouTube channel is here. We've got like 120 videos that are just mostly raw VODs of us working on the game and testing stuff to date. There's a nice overview video both on YouTube, and you can find it through the updates section of our website that shows basically the progress of the game from the beginning until year 2, which we celebrated in September. Has Disney moved up to try and buy us yet? No, but with Bob back in charge, you never know what's going to happen. Let me summon a torch. All right. So, time 6 p.m. All right. Sometimes the night spawns will actually take longer than 6 p.m. So we'll give it a little bit more time. We'll wait till 7 and see if these guys show up, but got the feeling it's going to be a no. Well, nope. I see a capsule back there. Do I see a capsule back there? Okay, I do. When is the game releasing? We are focused on getting the proof of concept done first. And as part of that, our goal is to get friends and family in and playing with us to test out the flow, basically from like registration through getting in game. Check some aspects of our security and server stability and things like that. We're hoping to get that in place and going before the end of this year. So essentially within the next month. And then going into 2023, we'll be looking at doing broader testing to help us, again, check server stability and a lot of sort of things on the tech side and start getting us more comfortable with playtesting. And then playtesting will occur throughout 2023 as we're continuing to wrap up proof of concept. And we'll be able to say more as to when things will go live. As part of that. All right, so interesting. This these spawns work. These other ones all of a sudden aren't working. And then let's set it back towards like 5 a.m. Oops. Time set 5 a.m. We'll have the sun come up and we'll see if they then spawn back into humans, despite the fact that the were-rats didn't all spawn. And if not, then we'll look at the spawn points and see what's going on. John NS said, wait, he's back in charge? I missed that news. Think he can unmistake the Star Wars movies? It'll be interesting to see what his approach is with Disney. But yeah, they had such a horrible earnings report, it sounds like, that he was called back into action. So Is that a speed buff Necros get? No, this is me just cheating and using the one of our GM items to be able to move around quickly. Davido. Sylvester said, it's funny, watch some low-key EQ super fanboy move into a position of supreme power in Disney, and you have a company like Dow buying the rights to make Dow Disney something. I'm not hip to the latest lingo, yo. Dow Disney online Disney. Didn't realize friends and family testing was even that close. I was thinking it was still a year or two out. Look forward to being able to hopefully play sometime next year, Pezzy said. So yeah, I mean we're kind of weird like that. We believe in a highly iterative process here. So we rather get people in sooner rather than later. Okay, so now there's a were-rat here. And then he despawned. What in the what? Alright, so that is a bit of data. Let me look at the zone spawns for these guys and figure out why they are so stupid. Night Harbor. Where at? They're at. Oh, you guys. Did Luna get a chance to stream last night? I don't believe she did. So, smuggler? Let's take a look at some stuff here. And I wonder if it's just... I wonder if the server just needs to be bounced or something. Because I know for sure this worked, guys. Well, that's pretty. I know for sure this worked. What time is it now? Time. It's 6 a.m. It's any moment now. Step 1, blame the programmers. Step 2, do not check the data on my side and continue to bug the programmers. Step 3, have Ollie show me the error in my data, which meant I didn't need to bug the programmers. Uberflut or is it Uberflute? Either way, thank you for the follow. Oh, interesting. No. These guys are missing here. Huh. Let's see. Is there really any reason why this would be behaving this way? Day night spawn, that's set. Everything's pretty normal. And all of this stuff has been working, so I've just got to wonder if the zone is in a weird state. Repop gets us back to here. Time set 5 p.m. Let's see if they do it, if they actually change over. Would forcing time changes cause issues? In theory, it should not. Is it very feasible that doing stuff like this could potentially cause issues? Absolutely. So we'll give it, what we'll do is we'll give it the in-game hour. We'll watch this guy move around. He's got a sword, but I got excited for a moment because I thought he had a fishing pole. All of the spawns are good. We got this excited smuggler just running in place like rats on a treadmill. Before the next repop, remind me and I can go in and set their height to 1 and see what's going on with them. No, they're not stuck on anything. We introduced a bug last night that makes our NPCs walk in place for whatever reason. We had to have a long discussion with the NPCs last night about their level of motivation. They did not seem super motivated to us, and this is how they passively aggressively responded. All right, so it's nighttime. They depop, and they are not repopping yet. Let me go look at something else, though. Let's see. Go to Giant. So the fact that we have Dune's Giant Scouts in the zone means that night spawns are working. So that's going to be... It's a different problem, which I think I'm just going to blame on the server getting into a funky state. Interesting, are NPCs invited to all company meetings? In my experience, there's almost always a ton of NPCs in company meetings. Let's see. I kid because I love corporate America. Have you put in any Easter eggs that nobody knows about yet? Yes. Yeah, so night spawns are clearly working. These guys have come in and taken over this camp. And the giants are up. So night spawns work. So let me go back to... let's see. So there are no were rats here. Which means I've got to manually go there. It was weird working on DC Universe online because movement just kind of worked this way. It wasn't a hack. Definitely made creating encounters and stuff a little bit more difficult. Constantly finding ways that we could break our own stuff just because of movement. JY1987, thank you very much. It's cool to meet you. Again, if you're interested in learning more about the game, check out the website. There's a ton of stuff in at this point that it's hard to convey in like a quick sort of run around. And definitely read the updates. The individual updates all have art and concepts and videos and information that's just not necessarily found anywhere else. So cool. So I'm gonna repop while it's nighttime now. And the were rats happen. They're here. So I'm gonna. Okay, and they're buffing them. I actually fixed this already in real time. Check on smuggler day-night cycle. Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's finish this quest. Well, let's see. Running in place leads to buffed were rats, so meta. Would they be buffed or would they be ripped? The difference in those descriptors is very important. Stat. I'm running in sand. You may have to go with ripped. I could see that. I immediately pictured Stallone and Apollo running along the beach. Best of friends now. Rocky and Apollo. I said Stallone. Was it Carl Weathers? Who is Apollo? Should be there, okay. Their walking in place reminds you of the grape smashing video where the lady falls for some reason. A helmet. That's all right. I guess I could. Okay. Fair enough. Nicodemus, yeah, we still have a few capsules here and there. There may be more capsules to come. When we're messing with new NPC types, then they make a reappearance. Pazzy said, I played a lot of DCUO since friends were really into DC, but I can never get with the movement specifically. I always felt like I had speed hacks and never quite connected with anything. I could see how, if that's not your, oh, he resisted, so he poofed. If that's not your jam necessarily, then I could see why you thought that. We'd played a lot of like, what was it, Ultimate Hulk? The one with all the nice jumping and smashing, and then we also played. There was a cop game, a futuristic crime game that I always forget the name of, from that studio in Scotland that had really good movement as well. So we're pretty inspired by. Oops. What was it? There are like 3 of them, and I always forget. It wasn't APB. It was... Have you guys figured it out yet? You guys haven't figured it out. Not Watchdog. Nope, 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 nope. None of those. Not Sleeping Dogs. Not that one. Nope. Crackdown. Yeah. That's it. Crackdown. Crackdown is a game. So, Crackdown was a big inspiration on DCUO. Another interesting thought. Do these guys repop? I may wait around here just to see if they repop on their own. Would make sense. You can never get with the movement in that game either. Fine for moving around, but at some point I wanted to actually shoot enemies. That game with more content would have just been fantastic. It didn't have very much content. Kind of reminds me of original Star Wars Galaxies. Star Wars Galaxies, there we go. Star Wars Galaxies with more sort of just basic content beyond the mission terminals. If it ran better on my machine when it came out, would have been pretty dope. Let's oh cool. All right. Oh, that's interesting. Is that a bug? Alright, so I looted the corpse. Corpse went away. And he respawned. Was it a coincidence? Maybe it was a coincidence. Okay, was it... Is it a coincidence? It's got to be a coincidence. I'm starting to like believe weird urban legends that people believed about like EQ and shit. Like the mob won't respawn if the corpse is still there. But it is kind of weird, isn't it? Okay, it was just a coincidence. But they fooled me. Cool. Alright, so what we're going to do... This isn't for me, is it? Okay. Did I check 1072 as well? I didn't, Nick. Okay. I saw a notification, so I'm glad I checked that. While I'm in here, let me look. 1072... was I've got it up, I just didn't check it. Adding conditional trigger drops to the loot table item group. I was like, man, this is a really detailed issue that was written up. I wrote it. Good job. Cool. I can write up a new issue for additional functionality, but we have the basic conditional. We've got the basic conditional drops in. Then we can expand those conditions later. David said the pills are back. Feel strangely excited to see them. Yeah. There'll be reappearances of them from time to time as needed. This works now for conditional drop that use buff. I'll write up a different issue for other conditions. Yeah, I'll do that. Because this is good enough to get us started. But definitely want to have other ways of doing it. Jord Mate RS, thank you for the follow. Is it Jord Mate or is it Jord Mate? Mate sounds more... It sounds a bit more exotic. Or is it even Jord? Or is it Jord? Jord Mate. BGFX says... There were all sorts of superstitions around about day of week, time of day, direction you face when you craft in Final Fantasy XI. It was like astrology. I've heard a fair bit about that. Bunny used to fill me in on all of those. Yeah, so the fun thing is we can and will be building in weird shit like that in our systems. There's no reason not to. We have the functionality and it is desired. All right, so let's go to zombie slash go to 3965. BGFX, how are you doing? That cool. SI Vibro Residue. Doing great. How am I? I'm doing pretty damn good. I'm excited for after the stream. My wife gets home. She ordered a new barbell and some weights, and they got delivered this morning. I had to carry them upstairs to our gym room, and that was my workout for the day. It was like just we've got a lot of stairs here, so and I'm excited because she gets to unpack and assemble all of that, and I know how excited she gets to unpack stuff. Windra X says, hello, saw on your website that you have, in quotes, rewritten the server from scratch. What kind of server is it? Is it a server made in another language, or is it a server made in Unity? If so, do you use system like ML API, now Netcore, or Photom, or did you work from the ground up? .NET sockets. Sorry for a long question. Haven't used Unity in a while, and your seemingly successful implementation of the networking is something I would have liked to learn from if I ever went back to game making. So, the obligatory, I don't think Ollie's still listening. He may be listening. He was in here earlier. It's his birthday. And he was probably listening and working earlier, but he's probably no longer in here. That question will be great for Ollie. We've gone back and forth in terms of what we've been using for server, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not the tech person. And so I think we started with Unity and ML API, and then went with something very home brewed. And now we're using lightnet lib. That's heavily, basically it's just sort of built custom for our needs. I think we may be using a modified version of the Unity server, but that's really best. The best place to get that information would be from Ali or one of the other tech guys in our Discord, or one of the other people that does a better job at paying attention and articulating answers to questions like this. Vulcan, thank you for the follow. But I do know that what we were running into was, just in a very layman's way of saying it, it was just there was a lot of unnecessary overhead and a lot of unnecessary like data and other stuff, and how that data was being managed because of the fact that there was all of this additional data or whatever, just made it way heavier than we needed. So very stripped down version. It is, just to sort of brag on Ali and crew and knock on wood a little bit. We have shown essentially the server networking to outside parties, including some folks at Unity, and they've kind of looked at what we're doing and asked a lot of smart people questions and all of that stuff, and we apparently have proven ourselves to know what we're doing. So I would say if you're really truly interested in learning more about what that is, you can dig around, like search our Discord, but also just ask. We got a lot going on, but we also try to be pretty engaged with folk. Don't know anything about IP law in games, but is it kosher for a game to look very similar to another game if it's coded very differently? Do you have a phone? Have you seen any mobile games before? I kid, but kind of not really. Sorry, I missed the part above that, which was meant to ask a question, but intended as a question of concern rather than challenge or sharpshooting from an IP perspective. Is this game not going to get someone sued? This is pretty South Row. It's a low poly desert. So our intent is to basically make a game that looks like a game from 1999. And ideas that we're using. I think here's the honest answer. I don't want to be a smartass, and then later on when we get like a cease and desist or whatever, everybody's like, "Oh, see, I told you so," or whatever. In America, you can sue for anything. So anybody can sue, and any company with enough money can, basically file a cease and desist, and then kind of put the ball back in our court to have to deal with it. I think it would be an interesting it would be an interesting move. It wouldn't be great, but it would be an interesting move for the company that did it in terms of PR moving forward. Our goal is to look at and the fact that, you guys tend to say EQ. I think we've on occasion said EQ or P99 or Dark Ages of Camelot or Ultima Online or, Asheron's Call. We use those different names and saying, as fans, what we like about those games and where we draw our information. I'm probably going to be inherently inspired by different elements of EQ because I spent 4 years working on it and 11 years of my life at Sony Online. So I think anytime a company uses those words in any sort of official way, even doing something like we do our dev streams, then it can be likely construed as marketing using an existing IP, which means the company could very likely engage in legal shenanigans. It's I guess it's a viable option. But our goal is to basically look at all sorts of games, including MUDs from the era, draw inspiration from those, and then make a game that just happens to look old school. If one of those companies decides that they want to come at us with that, then like I said, there's not much that we can do other than respond to whatever that is and kind of see the specifics of kind of what they're claiming, and then how that would be remedied. But if you sort of take that aside, the idea that one MMO looks like another MMO, again, look at pretty much any MMO that's come out after WoW and look for similarities. The similarities aren't hard to find because we're essentially all MMOs of a certain type are using essentially very similar core loops. And they're probably using relatively similar tech for the era. A lot of games apparently are using similar art styles. You could show me screenshots of I don't want to name them, but I could probably cite like 5 different games that if you were to show me screenshots of them, I would not necessarily be able to distinguish them. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that happens. We just happen to go for an older look that a lot of folks that played MMOs in the late 90s, early 2000s go, wow, that looks familiar. So, yeah. All I can say is, one, you can sue for anything in America. The question is whether or not it's successful. 2, the possibility, sort of exists. 3, our intent is to make something that we just think looks cool and looks old school. While I think at times people look at it and go, oh, it's, shooting specifically for this game or that game. Really, I think we're probably more inspired by different painters and artists and stuff for things like textures. And we just want to use low poly. So we're more inspired by that than necessarily looking and going, how did this other game do their textures? Stands for it? No, I don't think patents are a concern. And I don't think that the specific, like, we're not going to be using any specific names or whatever. But, yeah. That's my spiel on that. If you're a lawyer or executive or worker at any of those potential other companies, that's not an invitation for you to do it, but it'd be really cool if you didn't. Let's see. So I got 2 of the items. Oh yeah, wanted to go into a dungeon and check the others. Hey, Olgo. Good morning. Oops. I need to make myself invulnerable again when I get into the new zone. So we were worried about the trademark when we filed our trademark because we have the word monster in our name, and we saw that Ubisoft actually had to or decided to change the name of one of their games because it had the word monster in it. And Monster Energy wasn't stoked about that, I guess, and filed a whatever it is, filed a whatever the technical term is for the complaint, because they have people monitor new trademarks coming in. So it could be that Ubisoft was like, we just don't want to deal with this. So they changed the name of their game. An injunction? That sounds right, Bombo. So why do I keep spelling involve with it? Yeah. So we reload zone can tell that the data hasn't been reloaded because my robe is still red. So anyway, the sort of like puckery moment, fingers crossed moment was when we put the name out there, and yeah, so everything went through fine. There's no problems with it. So yeah, we've got the trademark. Windra X said, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on the work you've done so far. Seems very promising. Really inspired to see how well you guys are doing. Especially considering the small size of your team. Big thumbs up and best of luck for all the rest. It's refreshing to finally see indie devs tackle MMO genre. Oh, thank you very much. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should check out. Oops. Let me do this in here. I've got a button. No, I don't have a button for it, but I got a command. Check out Evercraft as well, and check out Ember's Adrift on the indie front. So let me look. There's at least one drop that I want to be able to get in here. Oh, my aggro is still on. At least I'm invulnerable, though. Oh, she looks good in armor. She doesn't have any hair, but she looks good in armor. Cool. Oops. Oh, that wasn't intended. Let's just repop. Oh man. Repop again. Wonder what those torches taste like? Well, one day you will get to know. Okay. ghostly cloth wrap is in the bag. Are there corpse runs in this game? Yes. As a matter of fact, we're actually working on a controversial part of our corpse runs today. Ollie is working on spellbooks and spellbook functionality. So we're working through some of the implications of the fact that when you die, you leave your spellbook on your corpse, and you can own multiple spellbooks, and what's the UX like for people when they're managing spells and loading up spells and things like that, if you've got multiple books, etc. So, that's fun, right? Oh, and we should, I don't know, was it working last night? We should have new functionality, and when you die, you respawn, so that you don't have to respawn naked. You respawn wearing a death shroud. Multiple books, like for specific loadouts. They don't drive the loadouts, but if you want to build your book collection in that way, feel free. It's up to you. Death Shroud like UO too. Mm-hmm. Legit Tygel? Or legit? Thank you for the follow. Oh no, oh no. Oh man, I missed it. We'll just go around this side door. What's the reasoning behind relearning spells when you die? New to this style of game, but very intrigued. Tubby Hubby. So I don't know if the original reason was just was meant to be this, but it does create the situation for us at least where if you've got to relearn the spells, then you've got to get them out of your spell book, and if you don't have your spell book on you, then you can't relearn your spells until you interface with a spell book. And so some people have found that to be a bit concerning, but we'll see how it works out. So the thing is, you don't have to have the spell book on you to have the spell memmed. We were talking about that today. Don't think that should be a requirement. You should just have to have the spell available in a book to mem the spell. Can you eat the Death Shroud? We haven't planned that, Helmet, but that may not be a bad idea. Let me go into the item database and create this item for the quest so I can turn it in. All right. Yeah, Nicodemus. I agree. Will monks leave their hands and feet behind when they die? Will they require backup ones in the bank? I'm gonna say no, John, because being able to remove players' hands and feet, I think we're gonna have to save that level of technology for like Monsters and Memories 2. Oh, wrong area. Feel like that may lead to me keeping my spellbook in town, go to the bank, memorize a new spell loadout, and then go out into the world. If you don't feel like changing once you're out in the world, or maybe you take a truncated version with you out in the world, those are all gameplay options for you. We believe in player agency. JY and 1987, thank you for the follow. When you die and come back to recover corpse, why must you memorize spells again? To be really honest with you, in previous games, I think it's just a decision that was made. Kind of maybe it carries on from, I don't know if that happened in old MUDs or not, but it sort of in the vein of pen and paper spell limitations in terms of frequency of use per day, blah, blah, blah. It kind of feels like that. Will players be able to mount trophies similar to torch shade objects for things like a trophy room? Subnatural is a desire within player housing to be able to do stuff like that. How tedious or costly will it be to make a second book? It just depends on the quality of book and or spells. K's? Oh. Thank you for the follow. You know what I mean, Pazzy? I was joking earlier that some enterprising low-level player could probably just buy spell books and load them with invis to like IV invisibility to undead, etc., etc. Why is this guy not showing up now? And just hang out outside of dungeons with like his pack animal loaded down with spell scrolls and books and just be like, hey, did you just die? Need a book? Charge like 15 times the price. Yeah, but the real deal, and Nick was commenting on this earlier, is we're making a game that we want, we're making a game that we hope gets players interacting with each other again. And so getting an invis from other players, or getting a speed buff or whatever from other players, or getting a port, etc., it's definitely an option. So you can go grab a spare book out of the bank. You could go buy a new book and or spell from somewhere nearby, potentially. You could buy it from other players. You could get an invis or a buff from other players. And then later on, we may see if there's, because a lot of people brought up the idea of like cantrips or innates that over time, once you get much, much higher level, you've got access to some version of spells. That's kind of last on our list of contingencies. So. John's point just hit this, but your point about the monk is melee can be effective after death. Yeah, we're not making a perfectly balanced game though. In that case, then monks are awesome. And you know what? You should ask a monk to go in and bring your corpse to you. Nicodemus, I hope that our openness can be used in our favor in a number of different ways. But yeah, I mean, this really did start as kind of like a dev-focused, let's talk about the industry, let's talk about, in the case where I've had people in from both EQ and Dark Ages and who are working on other games now come in and talk to us. The interviews I did, if you guys are unfamiliar with like how this started, it started in 2020 with me just getting some old work friends, former colleagues and stuff in to do interviews and talk about EQ and stuff. And so there's about 60 hours worth of interviews on YouTube there if you haven't seen them yet. And SE2, thank you for your generosity. 5 gift subs. love that you guys are making MMOs or emergent behavior from streaming. Yeah, Nicodemus, it's been pretty wild. Pretty sure this is the guy. Huh? Well, that's not great. Any new interviews on the horizon? None planned at the moment. All right. I do think the server may need to get bounced. There's just some funky stuff going on right now. Want to see spells that require a language prerequisite? Sure, you can borrow that spellbook for your friend, but you need 100 Dragon Tongue to mim one spell and cast it properly. Or you could try and suffer the consequences of speaking it wrong. I don't know if it's going to be that complex, but we've got languages in now. So that's pretty cool. How many languages do we have? I only know Common Tongue at the moment, so. You look forward to how distinct and unbalanced the classes end up being? We are here to please. It would be cool if the playtest was a broader dev reunion. It might be cool to get all the guys in and play our game later on when it's ready. Alright, so... That's interesting. He's invisible and he's not giving me the quest box. Or the turn-in box. Item trade. Element. Yeah, Nicodemus, I will have to say I've tried for the most part to keep those streams a little bit uncrossed for the time being. Let me see, is there... would it be possible to bounce the server? Seems like a few weird things are happening at this point, and I'm hoping to see if that will fix that. Weird things, example, strange bug with were rat spawn, invisible quest, or invisible NPC that wasn't invis a bit ago, who just ate my items. So we'll see. We'll see. Other than leveling it by speaking to others, how would this differentiate languages from other casting skills? You're asking Helmet that, Dread Pirate. I'm gonna let them answer. Who's News, thank you for the follow. Tubby Hubby says, by unbalanced, you don't mean like a specific class is overpowered within its theme or whatever, right? I can see certain classes being optimal for certain boss fights or something. By unbalanced, what I mean is there are bound to be scenarios in which the class probably feels overpowered or underpowered. If the overall feel of the class is that it just feels completely underpowered or overpowered, just relative to everything else, then we'll be looking at that. But odds are there are going to be instances where a class just kind of shines, or we find a behavior that we weren't expecting. And then we got to look at that behavior and go, all right, well, is it cool that the game is being played this way, or do we want to address that emergent behavior? Or yeah. Actually, let me go to and let me just kill this guy and see if he respawns. Is that my items? Oh, interesting. You just threw them on the floor. Maybe I threw them on the floor because he wasn't there? Let me update my plea for help to not include that anymore. As a rule with class systems, I try to design so that each class is best at one thing and worst at another thing. CJack, do you ever run out of things in that situation? Which of my items did not fall on the ground? I don't see any more bags. So I've got the pelt. I've got the scrap. I've got the residue. I need another heart. So /SI. Subnatural, I think the problem, yeah, the problem is the state that this thing is in. I don't think it's invis. I think it's just not existing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to target him, and I'm going to kill him. And then see if he comes back. Threw my stuff on the ground, said, you necros are not welcome around here. Pick up your shit and leave. CJX said, yeah, sometimes that may mean your game needs more things. You need fewer classes, or you need to slice your things more finely. All fair points. The more things part of it is really interesting because we have opportunity to do a lot with the mud actions, which mud objects I've been saying the whole time, but let's say mud actions instead. So the interactive, the environmental interactions that we've got the statics like the torch holder that we've shown. We've got widgets, which are kind of like spawnable statics. And so we've got a lot of tools to be able to do interesting, quirky stuff, and then link that into player abilities, and link that into items, and link that into the world states. And by world states, it's like anything from lunar cycle to time of day or whatever. So we've got all of that. Can you make twinklies on the ground that only twinkle at night? Belfaster, yes. That's pretty good, or pretty easy for us to do. So we've got that kind of stuff, but it's outside of the kill loot loop. Be fun once we've got gathering and crafting more integrated, and crafting fleshed out. It'll be cool to see how those work with all of this, and then yeah, so I'm waiting for Buckmar to respawn, but I've got the feeling it's going to be the same as me repopping. Because if I repop the zone and he's like this, then I don't know that anything's going to... This song is very familiar. What is it from? It is from our game. If you've been in here before, then it's probably grown on you. Now I look like Neo. Not a bad thing. Well, thank you. You can access the soundtrack on our YouTube page. We've got a playlist that links to all of the songs. Hey Mash, what's up, dude? Yeah, Nick, if you don't mind bouncing the server, I'd be very curious to see if that fixes this problem. And then I might run back and look at the were-rats as well. Here. While I'm waiting on that, I'll get booted from the game in a minute. Here. We'll have puppy time. What was the question? Have we had any thoughts? Any thought to having a themable interface? I think eventually letting the fans workshop on things like that would be awesome. Especially especially if, say, you allow the client to be on Steam. Folks there could potentially create tons of interface themes for the game. The problem with platforms like Steam is just how much of their cash they want. 30% is a lot of money for a small team, especially with us being subscription focused. Themed, so customizable, themable UI, things of that nature. In some form or fashion, just with, I think the only caveat is really we don't want to create a situation in which the interface is so it's you can manipulate it to the point of essentially creating must-have interface options that then change the way that people play the game. You can have a membership outside of Steam. EQ does that now, and they don't take a hit on income. Are you 100% sure of how that deal works? Because based on my experience, not with Steam on this front, but at least on the mobile platforms, they're very, very particular about you allowing things like subscriptions from other platforms and sort of cutting them out of the deal. 100% sure? They just act as a way to download the software. 100% sure. If that's the case, I assume Steam gets a cut of the game and DLC expansions, but not the subscriptions. All right, I'll have to research it again. Because the last time I looked into this, it seemed pretty cut and dry. Hoping for a certain level of customization, something like Final Fantasy 14, where you can move, scale, and hide existing elements. I don't think I want to go as far as well, where there's an expectation to use certain mods and damage trackers. Yeah, so for the former, I think that's absolutely well within reason. What a lovely dog. Oh, thank you. He's a good guy. Yep, he is a good boy. He likes to chomper things every once in a while. Bicycles, other dogs. But for the most part, he's a good guy. Oh, goodness. Let me see. Maybe I need to grab latest. Yeah. Had to put my guy in his crate. He is extremely fluffy. He is quite the shedder for being a little dog. From a quick check, Steam gets a cut if the person uses Steam Wallet in regards to microtrans and subscriptions. And my assumption is that you'd have to include the option for people to interesting. And my assumption is you'd have to include the option for people to be able to subscribe through Steam. And so then if Steam becomes the primary mechanism of like discoverability, which it could easily be, then everybody that comes through Steam, unless they somehow know to not subscribe through Steam, would then be part of that 30% pool. And then I'd be very curious to see sort of behind the scenes how that's managed, and whether or not they're looking for things like the developer to go, hey, if you cancel your subscription and come through the website, that type of thing, which I'm sure would get you booted off the platform at some point. So definitely, it's worth looking into all of the technicalities again. I just think it's to me it seems more interesting to see if we can be successful without participating in certain schemes like that. So all right, so I'm not sure what just happened. Fetch origin. So I've got all of the latest. I'm going to kill my editor. I'm going to reload my editor. And then I'm going to see if we still have the problem. And if so, then let the team know. Will the Necro pet system be limited to skeletons? Any thoughts on reanimating a dead NPC like a charm? Two separate questions. The idea of having more interesting skeleton types and pets has definitely come up a few times in the past, so don't be shocked if we do something there. Having a spell that reanimates a dead NPC like a charm, or reanimates a dead NPC for a certain period of time or whatever, wouldn't be shocked if something like that happens as well. But I'm not going to say 100%. That'll be stuff that's like, when you see it, then you'll know. Like once we put it in, then it will be confirmed. Going Caffeine says, well, I just mentioned Steve because they have a strong and lively workshop population, but I'm sure custom GUIs could be successful even without workshop. Yeah, I mean, what's the old website? EQ Interfaces. I think I'm more familiar with external, or I think I'm more familiar with websites that provide that than I am the fact that that Steam actually did it through the workshop, which is cool. I just surprising, well, not to those of you that have been here before, surprisingly out of the loop on things. See, reload the editor, all good. I mean, the amount of stuff I either don't know or have forgotten is a big reason why I like to surround myself with people that know things. Oh, it's struggling. Load in. Does my machine want to be restarted? Is that what's going on? Load. Come on, buddy. You can do it. You can. Oh, you can't do it. You couldn't do it. You tried really hard to do it. One more time. Let's give it one more big push. Oh, it really helps me it helps if I don't push that button again. Ollie's rebooting the server. The idea of, so discoverability, I think another thing that we've got to consider, and again, I may be completely full of shit on this, making a fairly niche product means that discoverability becomes less of the primary concern. So, I mean, in theory, we started marketing this game 2 years ago. Iron Man, this is Unity, correct? So, we started marketing this game 2 years ago. That's why I have things like the mailing list. You should sign up. I think we're at like 2,200 people. And our Discord. So the discoverability on YouTube's been pretty okay. I mean, it's not massive, but we're also extremely early in this process, and we are not necessarily making optimal YouTube videos in terms of discoverability. But you guys have found us so far. So I think with focusing on a very specific niche game and then building our core audience within that niche means that in theory, if we produce a product that you as the core consumers of this niche find to be of value, then that's going to allow us to get the word out to other people that are potentially interested in this niche through your network and through sort of the snowballing discoverability effect. And the thought is that the more this game is playable and the more that it comes together and the more that you see it firsthand through the playtests and stuff, the more the discoverability go up. The one thing that we don't want, and there have been, some interesting offers through my network since we started working on the game, potentially being on fairly big platforms or working with fairly big publishers, which one of the primary things that they've stated as a benefit of us working with them and thus giving them significant rev share or whatever is, well, millions of people will see the game. The problem is millions of people seeing this specific game isn't necessarily good for us because this isn't a game that's meant to appeal to those millions of people. We're looking for, we'll be happy with a solid 10,000 people. Very happy with 10,000 people in terms of our operating expenses and the fact that we don't have a big payback window because we haven't borrowed $1 million or $1.5 million over the last 2 years to get to this point. The team has been putting in the effort as time allows, and they've been doing it as a passion project. So we don't have a payback window in that sense. We've only invested out of pocket just under like 40 grand, and then the goal is to get to a point where as the game becomes live in some form, if that winds up being a post proof of concept, like more early access, or hey, it's a very small product, but we enable charging or donations or whatever that winds up being after proof of concept. As the money starts to come in, then that allows us to slowly scale up the team that we have by switching those individuals that are interested in switching from, essentially working as part-time on the project to being full-time, either employees or contractors. That's something we've got to talk about with each individual. And then as the subscriber base continues to grow, then we continue to ramp up more and more of the team until we've got our full team. And if we were looking at, roughly a full team of the 14 of us or whatever, then you would expect that operating expenses would probably get us to a point of, I don't have the spreadsheet open in front of me. It's open actually behind a couple of other browser windows here. But say we're running at 150,000 a month operating expenses, because again, relatively small team, then we start to get into that territory of if we've got 10, 12, 15,000 subscribers, then we're, even with what we consider to be a pretty solid, bigger team, able to maintain things. So, if that makes sense. What I've heard is that an MMO these days has to have about 100,000 subs. If an MMO has spent the money that most MMOs spend to get out into the market and then maintain a team size that is comparable to most MMO team sizes, then yes. Because then, you've got like whatever it is, roughly $1 million a month to handle operating expenses and start to get, start to pay off basically everything you borrowed to get out the door, like that payback window. Does that make sense? Right? Because it's essentially how much money did you spend to launch before you launched? And that's what primarily going to be the totality of all of the development costs, salaries, etc., all of the initial costs to get it out the door. And if somebody spends 3 years with, you know, a small team, 3 years at $1 million plus a year, bigger teams, you know, that's why MMOs wind up costing tens of millions or hundreds of millions in order to get launched. And then from that point, if they've got a 30-person team or a 100-person team, then yeah, those operating expenses are basically chewing up a chunk of your revenue, along with any other operating expenses on top of salaries, and you're trying to pay back all of that money that you borrowed in the first place. So probably not the cleanest articulation of it, but that's my thought on how the industry works. I could be completely wrong. Transparency, so appreciated and respected. This is why I believe M&M is going to be extremely successful, not to mention the humbleness that this little team always has. Zukin is extremely humble, in his humble opinion. Belfaster, you're correct. Yeah, the transparency would allow the whole pledge access thing to actually work for this game. Feels sketchy in other games, so I'd welcome it here. Thank you, Rev. Keep that in mind at some point in the future. Stanswar says, what parts of the team do you expect to save costs the most on? What kind of strategies are you thinking of, like merging the live and dev teams into something? Trying to think of trying to figure out exactly what parts of the team do you expect to save cost the most on. So one thing that we'll be looking at as we ramp the team up, if this is what you're asking, is the best balance between working with a reputable outsourcing partner who gets what we're doing and kind of gets our style and all of that stuff. So balancing our ability to scale on like the art side with maintaining art consistency and not necessarily breaking the bank. If we got a big pile of cash to just sort of like blast on this thing as hard as possible in terms of content, like tomorrow, the plan still wouldn't be to try to hire 20 artists. I think we really want to try to keep things as tight as possible, and then work with another group that's relatively self-managed that can then output what we need, without us having to all of a sudden bring double our team size and think that we're going to maintain sort of our level of communication or our culture or whatever, our vibe. So that'd be one area where the approach is there any form of contact email? There is a form of contact, typically through Discord. I don't think anybody's asked to email me before. People just find my email though, oddly enough. You can hit me up at a lovingrobot@gmail, Iron Man, or you can DM me on Discord. Most people just DM me on Discord. The mailing list is the mailing list, so it's more of a I send you stuff as opposed to you send me stuff. But Discord's honestly the easiest. Goose News, did I ever say thank you for the follow 30 minutes ago? I don't think I did, because I was probably rambling and then trying to figure out what the heck was going on here in Tarnation. Oh, this is interesting. And we've seen this before. Didn't we see this the other day where all of a sudden we got like a triple response? Sandsworth says art sourcing has been brutal to find anything reasonably priced due to demand and hard to find artists too. Hopefully you're looking after a bunch of these startups all over. We were pretty successful in this area last year. It was just the timing wasn't really right for us to go full bore. But we found a really, really solid skill-wise outsourcing partner. Prices were really good. Very, very easy to work with. Really cool. The owner was super cool. And so, yeah, everything was cool on that front. Need to check back in and just sort of see how they're doing. But he had actually reached out to me when I was looking for outsourcers in my network on LinkedIn. And he hit me up and I was like, I don't know that I've heard of you guys. And then once I saw what they had worked on, I was like, oh, okay, you guys have worked on a ton of stuff. Yeah, and then it's a whole nother thing. Like, we'll see the coming year. You know, it's going to be a tough year for tech. We're already seeing it. There's a lot of downsizing going on. You know, the economy being what it is, and the sort of change in there not being a lot of zero interest money flowing around and all of that, and companies actually having to sort of justify their valuations and all of that shit. It's going to be a pretty tough year, I think, going into 2023. It's probably going to continue to be this way. Hopefully not. Hopefully everything just bounces back and we've got, you know, crazy 2020 levels of engagement and companies are doing great, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So, sending this to you. The quest NPC is back, but he is being very generous now. Now let me check the database and just make sure this is not an error on my end, but I can't imagine that it is, because I can't figure out what would cause this to happen. All right. Yeah, so this looks clean. We're good here. I'm very interested to see how these platform companies hold out, like Pragma, Excelbyte. They wanted to offer full backend services for games like this. Yeah, we actually, and I know at least one person at Pragma now, who used to be at Unity. Yeah, I think all companies basically are going to be kind of in the same boat going into this next year, which is, are you generating revenue, and is that sort of matching something that looks remotely like the reality that you should be in, right? The sort of let's just focus on growth periods probably quickly coming to an end. And so it's kind of like, are you generating revenue? Could then also kind of back out to, are you producing value? And then within the companies, I think you're going to see that as well. This is by no means meant to like speak ill of anyone or mock anyone's situation or make a value judgment, excuse the pun, of anybody in these situations. But I do think that there are a lot of companies, and I finally saw at least one founder speak out on LinkedIn on this topic. And this person's already kind of an unpopular founder for different reasons anyway, so I'm not shocked that he chose to speak up. But he was commenting on like the downsizing at one of the other tech companies, and you know, he mentioned basically like, hey, these are the companies that that my company competes with, and he lists the full list of companies. There's probably like 6. And each one of those companies employs anywhere between like 2,500 to 4,000 people. His company is a direct competitor with them and doing okay, makes, you know, similar revenue to many of them, and maybe not as much as like others. His company has 80 employees. So, you know, I think those of us that have worked in tech have seen it as companies have grown. And those of us in companies that have grown have also looked around at times and been like, hey, I remember we've been kicking ass all the way up until this point, and we've created whatever it is that sort of created the opportunity for us to scale as a company in the first place with, you know, whatever it was. Like it started with 11 people, and then it's 50 people, and then it's 80 people. And what I've seen is when the company's like 70 or 80 people, and I've seen this, you know, a few times now where the company's like 70, 80 people, and it's like, man, we're kicking ass. Like we've got a successful product, you know, communication's not bad, management overhead's not bad, you know, like we feel good about ourselves as a company. And so now it's time to grow. And then all of a sudden you've got a 110 person, 130 person, 150 person company, and you're like, we're not really producing any more value to our consumers than we were when we had kind of peaked on that front at 70 or 80 people. And next thing you know, you got 200 employees, and it's the promise of the value to come. We've gone from really producing top-notch value to our customers at 30, 50, 80 people. And then we're looking around at 200 people and going, we're not producing any more value, but one day we will, right? It's the company that's like got a successful game and all of a sudden is working on 2 or 3 more games because they're going to capitalize on the success for the first game, and then just find themselves shocked all of a sudden that they're burning through a ton of cash, mainly generated by the first game. Oftentimes only generated by the first game. And then looking around and, you know, asses are starting to pucker a bit and people are starting to get a little like worried and, oh, we got to go. And how are we going to make more money? And how do we get more money out of the customers of game one and maybe do some stuff that's not necessarily in the best interest of that customer base? Like it just keeps seeing it where it's just, and then you look around and just realize, okay, well shit, we've got a nice big studio now, or multiple studios. We've got nicer offices now. We've got a company that's anywhere from, you know, 2 to 7 times as big as it was. And then they're not producing value. They're producing maybe the promise of value, but they're not producing value. And at some point, you know, that's got to just be called. And I think the company's got to like have a little bit of a come to Jesus and go back and sort of like think about how they got to that 70 person sort of optimal spot in the first place. And, you know, and sorry, it's rough for the folks that aren't in whatever that core group is, and God help them when they do downsize. Hopefully they're not downsizing with politics in mind and other bullshit in mind. And when they do downsize, they're downsizing to a core group of people that are really producing value and a good, you know, like team that's got good chemistry and really meant to be the core of whatever's going to happen next. So, I mean, that's that's my rant. Again, dude, I'm just a person that has stumbled through, 20 years of making games and shit. I'm not saying I know what I'm talking about. I clearly don't articulate a lot of this stuff very well on stream. But I think I've got enough confidence in what I've experienced and what I'm seeing to, be able to speak comfortably on these facts. But maybe that's a complete Dunning-Kruger effect or whatever. Growing speed is everything. Last company went from 30 to 85 people in a year. Yep. The rate at which you scale a company is so critical. Yeah, back when I was like, I'll write like an article for LinkedIn or whatever and post it on my shit. Like that was one of my main topics. Like I sat down and tried to write up a really nice article and, I had a friend edit it and everything, but it was, the impact of rapid scaling on company culture or something like that. Like, and so, cultural dilution. And I know in a lot of these newfangled sort of hippy dippy HR run companies, it's like, oh, culture's just the code word for, being exclusionary or just hiring people like you or whatever it is. No, culture's it's key. You're a team. This team is sacrificing a shitload. Like our team is dedicating time that they could be spending with their families or doing other shit or working on other projects or whatever when they're not at work or when they're not taking care of whatever it is that they do when they're not working on the game. They're providing time, which is, that's the biggest thing somebody can give you is your time, right? Like that's why I'm so fucking amped anytime you guys are hanging out in here for whatever reason that you do it. But it's cool because hopefully you're here because you're finding value in the streams and being able to hang out with each other and stuff. But like time it's worth more than anything. And when you're thinking about building a team, you want a team that's dedicating themselves to that mission, and to each other in a way where they're working in an environment that feels like it is a passion project, and not just a job. So yeah. When these companies cut back, I'm going to be very curious to see what kind of new company emerges out of it. And then I'm going to be very curious to see what they do moving forward. For the industry as a whole, I'm going to be very curious to see like what new small companies pop up. Because of the fact that people are let go from here, and here, and then maybe people get together and start some new little things and get a reasonable amount of cash thrown at them. So interesting times. Justin said, everyone is so nice, including Discord. Yeah, you guys, honestly, you're a super, super cool group. I am completely shocked that we've been doing this long and we've had so absolutely few like trolls and assholes show up. And again, I think that's a byproduct of we're not just trying to be visible to everybody out there. It's a fairly niche group that's assembled here. So yep. Okay guys. I'm super rambly at this point. It is 5:11 my time, which means we're a little bit over on the stream, but we'll be back on Thursday. Those of you, I know it's Thanksgiving. Those of you that are getting up early for Thanksgiving or whatever, cool. Be around. I'll probably have food in the oven by then. Excuse me. Or at least have some turkey in the oven, and then I'll be hopping off here at 5 on that afternoon. Pretty pretty on the dot to just whip up some more food for the two of us. But yeah, so if I don't see you guys Thursday, enjoy the holiday. Be thankful. Be thankful for such a rad community. Be thankful for, you know, whatever it is. If you're lacking things to be thankful for, hit me up on Discord. And I'll be thankful for you. How about that? Cutting Caffeine. Thanks. Tubby Hubby. By far my favorite streams I have on in the background while I work. Well, thank you very much. That's super kind of you.
Thanks
Kimmery.
for the streams.
Thank you for 5 months. Justin Beard. You're gonna eat your Thanksgiving out of a to-go bag from local community center? Well, I'll try to keep an eye on Discord and I'll be here on Thursday, but if you're around. Mirix, have a good one. Olgo, you as well. Isan, thanks, buddy. I hope you have a great holiday. Rev, thank you. Nicodemus, likewise. Sabo, it is very nice to meet you today. Nick says goodnight all because he hasn't been to bed in like 36 hours. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He got a 3-hour nap at midnight. Twitch Dog. See ya. Belfaster. See ya. John, no one's eating gnomes. Just stop it. Sansoir. Goodbye. Okay, I think that's it. Everybody, have a wonderful one. If I don't see you on Thursday, happy Thanksgiving. And I will be back on Thursday. Angel, goodbye. Forever Mash. See you, bud. And I am out of here. Thank you, everyone. Hang out with us on Discord.